So you want to get smarter. Around the world, people are told that intelligence requires 12 years of school, followed by 4 in college, and maybe another half dozen in grad school, only to end up broke anyway. Sadly, that's not even much of an exaggeration. The silver lining? At least when you're writing your "I can't find a job" rant on Reddit, your grammar will be flawless. Here's the twist. Becoming sharp isn't nearly as complicated as we're made to believe. Even if you think you're naturally below average, compared to most creatures on the planet, you're already ridiculously advanced. And when people say, "I want to be smarter," what they really mean is a mix of different things. We want to pick up practical abilities, ideally ones that pay the bills. We want stronger problem-solving skills, again, preferably profitable ones. We want to ace tough subjects and pull better grades, partly for career prospects and partly just to flex. And finally, we'd like to sound intelligent in conversation. Smart enough to earn respect, but not so overbearing that people start calling you a nerd. The problem? Most of the tips you'll find online are so abstract and philosophical, they might as well be reserved for Oprah or Socrates. Search for practical advice and you'll usually land on the same recycled checklist. Snack on blueberries, switch to black coffee, hit the gym, sleep 8 hours, take an IQ test, or put on some Mozart. Sounds nice, but eventually you'll have to do more than just eat fruit and listen to violins. After all, history's most brilliant thinkers often lived on 2 hours of sleep hunched over a desk. So what actually works? The real shortcut is reading. What kind of reading depends on your goal. Fiction speeds up your reading ability, boosts your vocabulary, and all that dialogue makes you feel less lonely. Nonfiction, on the other hand, is the ultimate cheat code for dropping interesting facts into conversations and sounding effortlessly informed. For instance, skimming a history book can instantly upgrade your small talk skills. The trick is not to be a jerk about it. Picture this. Someone says, "It's wild that humans evolved from chimps." You could butt in with a smug, "Well, actually, evolution isn't linear and multiple hominid species lived alongside one another." Technically true, but you'll sound like a walking YouTube comment section. Instead, swap "well" for something softer, like, "It's funny, I was reading about that." Suddenly, the same correction sounds like casual sharing rather than condescension. You come across as knowledgeable, approachable, and maybe even like you touch grass occasionally. Teaching without making others feel dumb is what gets people to see you as both intelligent and likable. Books. It's also a treasure chest of genuinely useful skills you can start applying right away. And that, more than blueberries or Beethoven, is what really makes you smarter. Before you dive into learning any new ability, there are 10 essential points worth keeping in mind. First, if you don't actively apply what you've learned, your brain will treat the information as irrelevant and simply discard it. Second, mastering a subject doesn't require complete knowledge. Roughly 20% of the core concepts usually cover about 80% of what you need. This principle is reflected in the learning curve, a chart showing how your performance improves with practice. In the beginning, small amounts of effort produce significant progress, but only if you actually engage with the skill. Watching a tutorial on tying a tie won't make you proficient. The real learning happens when you attempt the process yourself, while referencing the instructions. The same logic applies to reading. Books won't make you knowledgeable unless you give your brain a reason to retain what you've read. If you study a section about tidying up a room, follow it up by physically cleaning one. It doesn't even need to be your own bedroom. Just doing the action locks the memory in place. But what if the material can't be practiced immediately? Imagine reading about car mechanics and coming across a diagram that explains how to jumpstart a dead battery using another vehicle. Not everyone has access to 2 cars for hands-on practice. In that case, visualization becomes the next best tool. Picture yourself in the exact scenario where you'd need that knowledge. Watch a demonstration video and pretend the car is yours. By mentally rehearsing the entire process, your brain believes you've already applied the knowledge, making it easier to recall later. Someone who merely glances at the diagram and tries to memorize it, on the other hand, won't know what to do in a real emergency. That's essentially the path to becoming smarter. Put new information to use, and when you can't, create a vivid scenario in which it becomes relevant. This is essentially how schools function. You're taught material you might not need for years, so teachers simulate relevance through exams. A test poses questions based on that content, and failure signals you didn't use the information effectively. Unless you're in South Korea, then it's jail time. Just kidding. But the stress alone is often enough to push your brain into remembering. The problem is that once the exam is over, the brain often concludes the knowledge is no longer valuable and erases it. Some people believe in methods like repetition, space reviews, or mind mapping to fix this. While those can help, the most effective way to solidify learning is by solving practice problems. They recreate the environment in which the knowledge matters, making retention more natural. If practice questions don't exist, invent your own and raise the stakes in your imagination. Pretend, for instance, that you're clinging to a cliff and your survival depends on naming the atomic number of magnesium. In short, learning works when your brain recognizes usefulness. That's why textbooks remain one of the most efficient tools for rapid learning. They strip away filler, avoid unnecessary explanations, and provide direct information alongside sets of exercises. If you get stuck, the answers are usually buried deep in the appendix, forcing you to work through the challenge first. Textbooks aren't designed for casual learners. They're tougher and less entertaining than a quick YouTube video, but the knowledge sticks instead of fading in an hour.